Hello everybody, welcome back to the Metal Mill 52 workshop. Well, it's Saturday night. I appreciate all the nice comments that people have made about the thimble and the micrometer assembly so far. I've started on the next phase and I'll show you a little bit about that in just a second. Whoops, sorry. So now I've got the plans, stuck with a magnet on my backsplash of my lathe here, and as you can see I've also written them out in decimal, and I've just spent about an hour, probably a little bit longer than an hour, turning the large, this is another piece of that 1.5 inch steel, 1 9/16 steel actually, turning it down to the rough shape. This part will get knurled on it, so I'll probably do just like I did before. I'll put a little cut off tool in just to separate and probably reduce the shoulder a little bit. This is the part that gets through drilled 3/16 for the spring and the ball bearings, and this is the part that will be turned into a screw, will be threaded. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'll probably catch that tomorrow. Do it on the lathe here, and I'll just keep you posted as I go along. Alright, I just in the same manner I did the other parts, I used the parting tool and I cut off the, and then I did an indentation, I should say, at 1/4 inch. This is 250 thousandths, that's the thickness here, and I just used my little homemade knurling tool. And as I mentioned before, I went ahead and replaced this with the diagonal or cross-cut knurling wheels, and it made a nice finish there. I really like how that goes. So got those done tonight. I'll just look at this mountain of swarf. That's why I'm using a plastic bag here and there's a magnet inside just to pick that stuff up. Try to keep my lathe a little clean. I cleaned it all up this afternoon after I finished everything else, and with the thimble. So now it's time to clean up again, and just tomorrow all I got to do is put the 7/16 inch 20. That should be fun. I haven't threaded something on the lathe in a long time, so I'll be using that, and then I'll figure out a way, probably thinking about a 5C collet block and holding this in the mill just to drill that 3/16 inch hole. Okay, here I'm manually threading the 7/16 20 thread. As you can see, I did cut a little notch here, and then I just blued it. I'm using my diamond tool holder that's ground for the 60 degree cut for the threads. I'm not going to video this whole process. Maybe when I get close to being finished I'll take a video of the last pass, but that was my scratch pass, and I was checking to make sure I actually had 20 TPI, which I do. So only have to take off about 54 thousandths and make it fit. And so I'm just going to get that done without videoing it, and I'll bring you back when I've got that accomplished. Alright, this should be the last pass. Let's see if I get a nice clean curl. Looks like a teeny little one coming off there. This is only a 5 thou deep cut. It should take it to 55 thou. I should have made the undercut a little wider. I can address that in a minute as soon as I got the thread work done. Alright, cut it off, back it out a little further. Let's check and see if I'm going to clean that. Try it with the micrometer body. See if it threads on there. Okay. It does. Yay. It's not loose either. That's good. I was afraid of. It's been a long time since I've manually threaded like this. It's always a concern when you haven't practiced something for a long time. If you've got too much slop in it. Since this is supposed to be a micrometer, this is great. There's neither slop in this direction or sideways. So let me run this all the way down. Hallelujah. I'm just going to clean up the undercut area And the book says to file the tops off of the threads, which is probably a very good idea. So I'll do that in a second here. I'm no A-bomb when it comes to cutting threads, but I can get the job done. So, you know, like, I appreciate some of the comments that people made recently on the last video that I posted. Somebody made the comment about not rushing, or, you know, taking your time and all, and I couldn't agree more. Dang it. That is absolutely my motto. You know, take your time and enjoy this stuff, folks. So that's looking good. I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, I just wanted to show the setup. I put the micrometer threading bolt in the 5C collet chuck for 7/16. I wrapped the threads in painter's tape and put the bolt in there, protect the threads that way. Tightened it down. A center drill. I used like a 9/64 pilot drill, and then the 3/16 inch drill. And I think what I'm going to do in a minute here, I'll go ahead and run the reamer through it as well, just to have a super smooth hole for the pin that will go and push the ball bearings out. I just wanted to show that setup there. I think the next step I'll do is probably, since I got the 5C chuck out anyway, I'll put the collet chuck on the lathe and buff this out a little bit. This parted off good, but the finish is not great, so I'd like to make it look nice, since it'll be a very visible part of the tool. Howdy folks, welcome to the final installment of the Quorn micrometer thimble. I finished making the screw today, and I got it all assembled. As a reminder, it uses a spring and some 3/16 inch ball bearings, and they're in here now. I'll try to demonstrate the action of the thimble one-handed if I can. It's going to be a little tricky, but you see, you can turn the thimble here independent of the screw, and the ball bearings, you can also turn the screw. If I can figure out a way, let me see if I can do that with one hand. I don't know, but you can turn the screw and the thimble stays with it, so that hopefully makes sense. It's just like a lathe or something like that. So I finished the screw. I made it just like the plans. I am glad that I went ahead and used the diagonal hatch knurling here, and then the straight knurling on the thimble. I think it looks good having the two separate ones there. And if I can just imagine just trying to grind an end mill or something, and you know, if you're just doing it by feel with your left hand, that obviously the diagonal knurled part, the screw head, is larger, but it'll feel different too than the thimble. So the thimble you can move. That's kind of cool. Anyway, so I finished it. I'll install that sometime soon. I'm not sure. I'm going to think about this. The book actually calls for it to be case hardened, and I'm sure that's because the end of the screw bears against the bar, the front bar of the Quorn grinder. But I'm not sure I really need to do that. I'd love any feedback if anybody's familiar with that part. I do have the capability to case harden stuff. I've done it before with the pillar tool, the staking plate of the universal pillar tool. So that would be one thing that I might want to do. But for now, I guess the next thing I need to do is to try to figure out the dust pockets. That's the next thing in the book, little dust covers that go on the inside. So we'll see about that. I don't know, maybe that, or start machining some more cast iron parts. But either way, I'll certainly keep you posted as I go along. And thanks again. I welcome new subscriber Jeremy. Thank you so much for the nice comments and compliments that you made. I appreciate it very much, and I will try to do my best to live up to everybody's expectations. Thanks again.